Hello and welcome to episode 49 of the Pixel Street Podcast, where each and every week we get together and talk about one of the things we love most, and that is video games. Usually this is where I make some sort of joke about John in Overwatch, but John is not here this week. We are joined by Alex Southgate, who some might say is the British version of John. How are you doing, Alex? No? You're not the British version? No? All right. As always, you can get our podcast on most podcast platforms on Fridays, but we're recording on a Saturday to accommodate Alex here since he's in the UK, as well as on YouTube. You can now watch the show directly on our Facebook group by searching for Pixel Street Podcast on Facebook. This week, we're going to be talking about some of the games we've been playing, what we're excited for coming up soon, and we're going to go through Alex's gaming history. Whatever that may be, who knows? Maybe
all 20 plus years of it.
20 years. Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting to see like where people come from in terms of gaming, especially because like for me, it was because my dad used to play NBA Jam all the time, and now like my dad could give a shit less about video games for like the past 20 years of my life.
Yeah, it's weird how you sort of forget something that you did all of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you know, like sometimes people just fall out of gaming for short periods of time as well. Like that's happened to me.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, let's look at this new releases list for like the past week or so. And see, Ace Combat just came out yesterday. Are you excited about that game at all?
I've never been very good at flight sims. So the whole Ace Combat series, I've played bits and they were always kind of fun, but it's just one of those where I get blown up a lot. So it's the sort of thing that I'd probably have a short go of and then maybe just sort of go on to something else. What about you?
I think I've played an Ace Combat game back in like the PS2 era, I'd say, but I have not played them since. I'm not a big fan of flight sims either. If Crimson Skies got made again, I would be all over it just because I loved that game on the original Xbox. But other than that, I'm not too into the flight sim genre as a whole.
I think the thing with flight sims and any sims like that is they try and make them over-realistic.
Well, yeah, we have an article coming up. I don't know if you saw the one that I put. Oh, did I not put it? Oh, yeah, I did. Wait. No, I didn't. I'll find it again. But it's hilarious. It has something to do with the realisticity, if that is even a word. I don't think it is.
It is now.
Of Ace Combat 7.
Yeah.
So that's just a little teaser for later. We also had The Walking Dead, the final season, episode 3, come out this week. Have you followed that series at all?
Again, the whole zombie thing for me just is... I'm just beyond it. You know, everything seems to have been zombies for like the past 10 years now. One way or another.
Yeah, I mean, that genre, I think, is kind of dead as well. Oh, I did put the article in here.
Was that a deliberate pun?
No, it was not. But it was now, if it makes me sound smarter. But yeah, I mean, I personally am not a big fan of zombie games anymore either. It all started, I think, with, like, Left 4 Dead, right? That's when it really, like, got big.
Left 4 Dead, Dead Rising.
Games. Yeah, that era, you know, the beginning of the 360 era.
Yeah.
And I think The Walking Dead, the Telltale games, like I played the first season a few years ago, and then I've just played every Walking Dead Telltale game since, just because I like the series as a whole. The other day I started episode 2 of the final season, just because I found out 3 was coming out, which is cool, you know, because the Telltale guys, they all lost their jobs. They canceled the game, essentially.
Yeah.
And then it was revived by... I can't remember. Who was it revived by?
Can't remember either. But yes, it's been revived.
Telltale Revival. Let's Google this and see what comes up. Skybound.
Yes.
That's who it is. So yeah, that's cool that it's getting second life. They're at least getting the chance to finish what they started, which is always nice. Especially for me as a fan, since I want to see how it ends.
I think that's the one thing with all of the Telltale series. It does keep you coming back because you do want to see how the story ends. And because you're sort of writing the story as you go, it kind of makes you more invested in it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because they can, adjust things here and there depending on how, like, community feedback is as well. Since they're kind of making the game as they go.
Yeah. I think probably out of all of the Telltale ones I played, the Batman one that they did was my favourite. But
yeah, I played the first season of Batman. I never got to the second one.
Yeah, I like the story and the way that they're sort of playing with the characters in that. What I didn't like was it was a little bit glitchy, if I remember rightly. It felt buggy.
Yeah, it was very... I remember... I watched a lot of Kind of Funny content, and they were talking about... like, the final act is just, like, eyeballs flying around.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't see the person. It was like, that's not good.
The Exorcist moments where you're talking to a character whose head is literally spinning round 360. Doesn't look good.
And I don't even understand. I know nothing about game development, so I don't even understand how that's possible. And how something like that passes certifications and stuff.
Well, I mean, it's just a clear lack of testing. It's got to be.
Yeah. Moving on. Coming out next week, there really isn't much. I see Smite is coming to Switch, which is cool.
Yeah.
I like seeing those free-to-play games come to Switch now. Like, well, now you got Smite, you got Fortnite, and you have Warframe. Those are the three main ones I can think of.
Fortnite, I genuinely 100% don't get this thing with Fortnite at all.
Not at all?
No, I mean, maybe it's just I'm not a massive, big sort of team game fan, although I'm going to totally go against what I've just said because I love Smite. But I just don't get why it's gotten so big so quickly.
I think part of it, well, the main part of it is that, PUBG was all the rage a year and a half ago. Everybody wanted to play PUBG, but it was only on PC, and you had to pay $30 for it. Then Fortnite came out, essentially copying the same game mode. Like, we're going to call it what it is. It's the same exact game mode.
Yeah.
And they put it out for free on all consoles. I think that's what made it blow up so much, is that they beat PUBG to consoles and it was free. So you have all these little kids with their Xboxes, maybe their parents won't let them play, like a military sim type game like PUBG, but they see like these cartoony guys, and they're like, all right, yeah, you could download that. It's free. Why not?
It's free and it's cartoon violence, so that's not going to affect them at all. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. That's a conversation for another day, though.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, Fortnite is definitely blown up. So, do you have a Switch?
I do have a Switch, although I've used it very, very little. I actually got it a year ago, and I think I've picked it up about 4 or 5 times, and it's because I spend so much of my time playing PC and PlayStation 4 games that it's sort of gotten a little bit sidelined, so that's my bad.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, I was pretty much on the same boat. I have a lot of games now, but that's because at work we've started playing, like a bunch of us have Switches now. So we started playing during lunch breaks and stuff. So I've been playing a lot of Pokemon during lunch. We've been having like Smash tournaments during our lunch break, so it's been a lot of fun. But it's definitely a great console, just to have. I think everybody should have one along with their, PS4 or Xbox or PC, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, and the thing about the Switch is it really is designed for team play, and it's designed, I think, first and foremost as almost a party console, and then kind of more secondly as sort of your solo play standard traditional thing, which is fine because a lot of people that have Switches have other consoles as well.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. So are you going to be trying Smite out on Switch, or do you think it'll take away from the game for you since you are PC Master Race when it comes to Smite?
Well, actually, I'm not PC Master Race when it comes to Smite.
Oh, you're PS4 Master Race.
I'm PS4 Master Race when it comes to Smite. And I don't know, I don't think it's going to take a lot away from it because it's a console game, or feels more console friendly than other games of that style. Like, the whole MOBA thing went totally over my head. I did play a little bit of games like sort of League of Legends, And yeah, fun in short bouts, but they never really sort of drew me back to want to play again and again and again, and Smite did.
Yeah, I did play a little bit of Smite when it came out on Xbox One originally.
Yeah.
But I never got too invested into it. I'd played maybe 20, 30 hours of it.
Yeah.
But I know a game like that, you got to put like hundreds in before people think you take it seriously.
Well, I think that's a lot of the issue. It's the whole community thing. And, you know, I've said this, or feel like I'm saying this, over and over and over again recently. They're called video games because they're games, because they're designed to be fun. And when you've got a community that is, for one reason or another, notoriously toxic, it's not a game anymore. It's not fun, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And it's games like Smite and Overwatch, you know, all these team-driven games that you really, like, you need to have your core group of friends that play it, or else you're just not going to have a good time. Like, I love the game Overwatch, but I don't play it ever anymore because I never have any friends playing it. Whereas if I do see, like, 3 of my friends are playing the game, of course I'm going to hop in and play with them because it just makes the overall experience much better.
Absolutely.
Because then you don't have a guy on your team, like, on his Smurf account just throwing games to get, like, the lowest rank so he can just dominate people for fun.
Yeah, and, you know, because you're playing with your friends, you understand their strengths and weaknesses within the game, so you're not going to get anywhere near as much of the sort of snipey backbiting that you do when you're playing with a group of people you've literally never met before.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot that goes into these type of games, but I think Smite coming to Switch is a pretty cool thing. I'll probably give it a try on there.
Well, the other game, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later, from Hi-Rez, is Paladins. Have you played much of that?
I've never played Paladins.
It's actually really, really good fun.
Is that the one that's kind of like Overwatch?
Yeah, people sort of called it an Overwatch reskin, and I don't think that's entirely fair, because, I mean, I've never actually played Overwatch, massively surprisingly, but I sort of came into that with Paladins, that sort of style of game, and to me it's just an awful lot of fun, and I like a lot of the stuff that Hi-Rez are bringing out. So...
I just looked up the release dates. So Paladins came out September 15th of 2016.
Yes.
And Overwatch came out before that on May 24th.
It did.
So I remember it was like the E3 before that we saw Paladins, Overwatch, and what was the name of that other one? Battleborn.
Yes.
They were all announced like the same E3, and everybody's like, these are all the same game. I remember because I got really confused.
Well, Battleborn flopped.
Big time.
That didn't sort of even particularly take off. I think the fact that Paladins was released first and foremost on PC before it touched a console at all might have helped it. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I just had to burp a little bit. It's interesting because Battleborn was the first of the 3 to come out. And I actually remember that because they were supposed to come out around the same time as Overwatch.
Yeah.
And then they pushed their release date forward by 3 weeks to come out before them, but it did not help them at all. I think people just realized it wasn't a good game. And Overwatch is Blizzard. Yeah. And, you know, it's Blizzard, so of course it's going to be a great game.
That and Overwatch was bound to get an awful lot more backing and an awful lot more drive because it is Blizzard. So everybody will have known about Overwatch, whereas not necessarily everybody will have known about Paladins.
Yeah, that makes sense. Moving on to some other release dates. Looking forward to next weekend, you have the Anthem VIP demo, which is for, I think if you pre-order the game, it's like a beta type thing, I don't know, on Friday, January 25th. And then you have Resident Evil 2 next week, the remake. Are you a Resident Evil guy?
More zombies. Do we need more zombies?
I don't need any more zombies, but you have it there. I'm also a scaredy cat when it comes to scary games.
Yeah,
I stay away from them. And which is interesting because I have a PSVR, and one of the games I've been wanting to play on it so bad is Resident Evil 7, just because it's really like the first like full, you know, AAA studio game to come out for PSVR that you could play entirely in PSVR. But I have not gotten around to it. I haven't even bought it yet, even though I've seen it on sale for like $20 multiple times, just because I'm afraid.
Well, that's the whole thing. These things are always a really good idea in essence. You think, yeah, I can do that. That's fine. It's going to be really good fun. And then you actually put the disc into your console, get about 5 minutes sort of beyond the opening cutscenes and just go, what am I doing?
Yeah, sorry. I'm looking ahead at some of our news articles, and one of them's pretty funny. It's just cracking me up. But that does it for the new releases coming out in the next week, or the previous week, and ahead to next week. I don't think any new games came to Xbox backwards compatible, but let me check that. Oh yeah, we have Ace Combat 6 came out, Rayman Raving Rabbids, and I think that's it.
Have you played Raving Rabbids?
No, I've never played Rayman games before.
I picked up a copy just for a laugh for the Wii, and actually it's a really fun party game. It's not something you play on your own. You need to have your mates with you.
Okay.
But it's actually quite a lot of fun, so that could be quite interesting.
What is like the what do you do in the game?
Well, imagine Mario Party would probably be a really bad comparison, but it's the closest comparison I can think of. So you've got just a series of wacky mini games with the rabbits, who are just these completely insane characters from Rayman.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. I've never played any Rayman games, and it looks like this is just a mashup between Rayman and the Rabbids, right?
Yeah.
Are the Rabbids from Rayman?
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Oh, that makes so much more sense to me now. Because I know that there was that Mario game, right?
Yeah.
With the Rabbids. I forget what was the title of that one? Do you know?
It was one of the crossovers, and I did know, and it's not in my head.
It is called Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Yeah. I know people thought that game was really cool. But I'm not into those turn-based type... I don't know if it's turn-based. I forget what it is. It's like XCOM.
Yeah, no, that's more up my street.
Maybe you should give that game a go if it comes on sale.
I might do that.
Alright, that does it for the upcoming releases and the backwards compatible games. Let's go into what we've been playing. Alex, what have you been playing the past few weeks or months since you've never been on the podcast?
Mostly recently. I mentioned it before, I've been playing Paladins. My issue with gaming at the moment is I am lucky if I get more than 20-25 minutes to sit down and play anything. So really investing myself in anything is pointless. So anything that's kind of team-based or match-based is quite good for me, because I can play in small bursts and pick it up and put it down, and Paladins is good for that.
Okay. So how many hours do you think you've put into Paladins total?
I would say an awful lot more on the PC, because I picked it up on the PC first.
Yeah.
Than I have on the PS4. I came to that relatively recently. That's what I'm playing now. On the PC, I must have put probably 15 to 20 hours, maybe a bit more, into Paladins. I've managed to unlock most of the characters at that time.
Is Paladins, is it free to play?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay. And wait, isn't that one on Switch as well?
I think it might be, actually, yeah.
I think that was like one of the first ones that came out on Switch.
But it's worth picking up. It's one of those.
Yeah, it is. It is out on Switch. Cool. Maybe I'll try that as well. Yeah, I'm all about these free games on Switch, like these bigger free games. I think it's really cool.
Well, generally the word "free" helps, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it'll help anything.
Yes.
No matter what it is, even outside of video games.
I mean, absolutely. Even if it's awful. If it's awful and you haven't spent any money on it, it's fine.
Yeah. Speaking of free, it's kind of free, kind of not. I've been playing Strange Brigade on the Xbox. It's on Xbox Game Pass. So if you have that, it's free on there. Technically not free, but
what style of game?
What's that?
What style of game is it?
It's interesting. So it's like 4-player co-op. It's like puzzle solving type thing. There's a lot of collectibles. I don't know how to explain it. I'm gonna Google it and see what it says. But essentially, you're trying to solve clues and puzzles to get from like through the whole level. And there's a lot of puzzles that go on, and then you have like mummies coming at you. You got to kill, stuff like that. Let's see if it says a genre. Third-person shooter. I guess that's the genre, but I don't know. It's developed by Rebellion Developments, which is a company I've never heard of. But I literally just started playing it a few hours ago, and we played through the first 2 levels, and it's really fun. It's really cool. It's definitely not something I don't think I would have paid for, just because I don't know how many levels there are, and I feel like once you solve all the puzzles once, it's kind of like over.
So it hasn't got a particularly long lifespan, you don't think, potentially?
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm looking right now. It's $30 on pretty much everything. I don't think it's on PC. Oh yeah, it is on PC. It's on Steam. But yeah, it's a really cool game. It's definitely a game you need people to play with. So the only reason I started playing it is because 2 of my friends were like, "Hey, let's go play this right now." I was like, "All right." I downloaded it last night. But it's really cool. There's a lot of weapons. Like there's different classes you can choose, different styles of weapons, and you get kind of like I'm assuming in Paladins you get some sort of like special move, right? That charges up.
Yeah.
Like
you do.
Like any of those games, yeah. You get one of those for each different character you choose, and you can get new ones like with your upgraded skills and stuff. But overall, it's a really cool game. There's a lot of puzzles. Yeah, I've been loving it, man. And there's like an announcer dude. He's British. He's hilarious.
Obviously,
it's just like it's got like a obviously it's got like a real funny vibe to the whole game. Like it's nothing in the game is taken too seriously. Like while it looks very realistic and the zombies are all coming to try and kill you, it's all kind of like in a joking manner, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I like that. I think far too many games do take themselves too seriously now. So it's always a refreshing change when you can tell that the devs are having a bit of fun with you.
Yeah, and like every time a new I guess type of boss within a level would come up, it like zooms in on them and then it pauses the game, kind of, and then it goes black and white and it plays some old timey like Indiana Jones style music.
Yeah.
And then the announcer guy, he'll just like come up with something witty or clever to say about that guy, and it's just hilarious. It's a great time. Here's the description. Strange Brigade is a cooperative third-person shooter video game developed and published by Rebellion Developments. It was released for Microsoft Windows. I guess that's not really in the game, the player fights against different mythological enemies and solves puzzles. So yeah, pretty much what I was saying. It's a lot of fun. I definitely see myself going back with my crew and playing it more.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't play a lot of multiplayer, as I said before. It's just, I've always been a more, I think, single-player fan. And that's because if I suck, it doesn't matter that I suck, because I've only got myself to blame.
Yeah. So on that kind of note, what kind of single-player games have you been playing?
I'm playing an awful lot of Slay the Spire. Have you heard of that one?
I have never heard of that. I'm going to Google it.
It's awesome. It's really good fun.
Is it a Switch game? Oh, well, you don't play your Switch much, but yeah, it's on Switch. It's
on PC. Well, I'm playing it on PC.
Yeah, I got you.
And it's still in early access over on Steam, but...
Oh, I see. So, sorry. So is it kind of like a turn-based card game where what you're choosing to do is shown on screen behind the cards?
Yeah, it is sort of. It's more of a roguelike, and roguelikes are my genre. That's my thing all over. So every time you play, the game is different, which is excellent. The other thing that I really like about it is that it's not you build a deck, you play with that deck. Each character within the game has their own deck of cards, which you unlock as you go. But you have to find those cards. So those cards are your skills, your abilities, your moves, etc., etc. And you find them like treasure as you pass through the game, meaning that you can get a completely different mix of those on each run. So some runs you might do really, really well and make it towards the end of the game quite easily and successfully. And then the next time you play it, you might get nowhere, depending on how the game pans out and what you're facing. And the enemies are different each time as well. So bosses in different places, enemies in different places. It's just a really good strategic game.
I see. So the game can kind of get easier or harder depending on what kind of cards fall for you.
Exactly. And the choices that you make, because it's all choice driven. Between sort of combats, you'll normally get a choice screen. And you're picking from like one of 3 cards. But because you don't know what you've got coming, you can't really plan your deck that well.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not very much into like the card games at all. But this seems more of like not a card game than it is, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of a dungeon bash than anything else.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I've never even heard of it. So, is it like a pretty popular game?
It's still a relatively unknown game. Funnily enough, I actually reviewed this for TVGB relatively recently. And with it being in sort of early access, a lot of early access games feel very unfinished, or, you know, you can tell. With Slay the Spire, it feels finished, which gives you the impression that adding things rather than fixing things, which is good.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, like I said, I've never been into the card type games. The only card type game I'm into is Pokemon. I played the TCG Online a little bit.
Yeah.
Just here and there, but I haven't played it in months and months. But yeah, I'm into that. But yeah, this one might be worth looking into.
I mean, it genuinely is. It's genuinely worth picking up. And it's one of those games where, you know, you sit down and you think, I'm just going to play for half an hour, look at your watch, and it's 6 hours later.
Jesus.
It's that sort of game.
Yeah, I think every person has that type of game for them, like a very specific genre for them.
Exactly.
But yeah, if anything, I'll definitely check out a stream and see if it's something I'd be into.
I would. It's worth picking up, and it's something a little bit different if you're just fancying a bit of a change.
Okay. Moving on, I've also been playing Battlefield 5 still. I love the Battlefield series. I've gone over this multiple podcasts probably, but I didn't play in the past like week and a half just because they like every few weeks they come out with it's called Tides of War. It's almost like the Fortnite Battle Pass, if you know what that is.
Yeah.
Where you complete one step and then you unlock whatever it gives you, whether it's XP or a skin or something, and you move on to the next one. And they just brought it back because the last one ended a week and a half ago, I think. So they brought it back this past Thursday, and I already finished this week's objectives. So I'll probably hold off on that a bit until next week. But like I said, I have my crew that plays this game all the time, so it's really easy for me to jump into and have a good time, especially with a full crew. I don't know. Have you played any Battlefield games?
I've played. I don't think I've properly played Battlefield since probably the second one. So,
Battlefield 2?
Yeah. So we're going back a while.
Man. You see, that's the first Battlefield game I played.
Mm-hmm.
And I played that back on the original Xbox. I have very vivid memories of... because I think the demo disc came with the OXM magazine. Like, the original Xbox magazine at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember just playing hours and hours of that demo, man, because it was an online demo. And we would just C4 up a car and just drive it into people and jump out. I had a blast. I remember playing that game until like 8 in the morning before.
But that's the weird thing, isn't it? Do you remember when, you were that age and you couldn't afford games and demos weren't demos? It wasn't something you'd pick up for 5 minutes and put down. You literally played some demos sort of so often that you knew them inside out, and you'd still play them again and again.
Yeah, because we didn't have options back then.
No.
So like that demo essentially was a full game for me. And then I remember like that Christmas, that's like the one thing, like the only thing I wanted is like just buy me the full game because the servers eventually got shut down for the demo, like a few months later. But I played the hell out of that demo. But yeah, Battlefield 5. I'm sure I'll have more to say about it in the future. It's just more Battlefield.
And I think that's my issue with the Battlefield series, and it's my same issue with the COD series and a lot of other series, is that I don't quite see the point in buying what is essentially the same game every Christmas, but just a little bit different.
Well, for me, I played Battlefield 1, which was the one that came out last year, and I did not like it. Granted, I probably played 25 hours of it in total, but and I've probably already surpassed that in Battlefield 5 since it came out. Probably even doubled that, but I did not like Battlefield 1 at all, but something about Battlefield 5 is just awesome. It's perfect to me. I think that the gameplay in Battlefield 1 was too slow, and I think that's because it was the World War I setting that I didn't like at all. It was just way more slowly paced. But Battlefield 5 has really been doing it for me. I like it a lot.
What sort of I enjoyed about Battlefield over COD was the size of it. What I didn't like about COD was it was a bit more sort of frantic. It was a bit faster. Whereas,
it was more of a twitch shooter.
Yeah.
Like, you run out there, you get killed, you respawn within 5 seconds.
Whereas Battlefield, maps much bigger, vehicles to play with, and all of the other stuff just made it a much more enjoyable experience.
Yeah, I completely agree. What are some other games on your list?
Well, staying with the card game sort of theme, I've been playing Magic the Gathering Arena quite a lot. And I play Magic the Gathering, actually, the physical form of the game, so sort of switching that to an online play was just a no-brainer for me. And I've actually been playing these games since 2009, roughly. This is the latest iteration. It's not bad.
That's cool. Yeah, I know that these games come out pretty much every year. Did they skip a year?
In one format or another, they do. The thing that I don't like about Magic the Gathering Arena is it's 100% player versus player. Whereas the other iterations we've had in the past, I mean, the earlier iterations had a storyline to them, which was really quite good fun. And then you had your online play as well, which was fine. But now, you've only got PvP. There's no AI involved at all. And it's not as much fun, because the thing with any game like this where you're building a deck to play competitively is you need to test that deck, and you can't.
Yeah, the only way to test it is by playing somebody. I see what you mean. And getting destroyed by them, probably.
Yeah, because you haven't had a chance to work the bugs out, you don't know whether it's going to work or not. If you get the chance to play against an AI, it doesn't matter if an AI pans you over and over and over again, because it's not ranked, it's not affecting your standing on anything, there's no leaderboards involved, you're just getting beaten, and then you can go back and tweak it, come back again and try again, and that's fine. But when you're against other players, you can't do that.
Yeah. Like I said, I played a little bit of Pokemon. I collect the cards every once in a while. I haven't bought any in a long time, but I don't know. It's just kind of nostalgic for me, and I think I would really enjoy playing like the card game in real life. It's just a matter of finding, somewhere that does it and people that want to do it.
Yeah, it's the same with Magic the Gathering. In fact, it's the same with any of these games. If you find sort of a group of people that enjoy it, you'll find yourself playing a lot.
Yeah, I imagine. Moving on, I've also been playing Celeste. I'm sure I'll talk about this more when John is back on the show, because he beat it and was talking about it. And this is a game I did not think I would like, but John told me to try it out since it's on Xbox Game Pass currently, and I'm loving it. It's super frustrating at times. It's really hard at times as well. Like you die hundreds of times every chapter. There's 8 chapters total, or 7 chapters total. I don't know how many. I think 7 or 8. But I'm on chapter 7 currently, I believe. So I think I'm at the end of the game. It's just a lot of fun. The music, the sound design in the game, it makes you feel things that you didn't think like an 8-bit type game could, or 16-bit. I don't know which one it is, but yeah, it's a great game. Definitely try it out if you have the opportunity to. I don't know if you're into these type of games.
I'm into games that are hard. This is coming back to the love of roguelikes. They're built to be hard. They're built in such a way that you're going to die over and over and over and over again. And, you know, they're not games for the easily frustrated. And I'm assuming Celeste's probably the same, right?
Yeah, I mean, you die a bunch in this game. And this game can be as easy or hard as you make it. So you can like go through and try and find all one of the collectibles is called strawberries. You can go through and try and find all the strawberries in every chapter, which I've been averaging about close to half. Some of them I got like a quarter of them, and like I was searching pretty hard. So you can go through and try and find them all, and then once you do find the strawberry, it's like a whole separate puzzle in its own just to try and get it. And those are usually really hard, like to maneuver. And it changes the dynamic of the game throughout. So like at the beginning you have one super jump, like you jump and then it's like a double jump type thing.
Yeah.
And then you advance to an area where you're jumping off like pinballs, like the pinball bouncy things. I don't know what those are called.
Then, like bumpers, that sort of idea.
Yeah, yeah. And then you go on to another level where there's like these dark voids, and you have to use your super jump into it, and then you go flying. And then you have to like guide yourself. I don't know. There's just a lot of different things that go into this game. But yeah, you can make it easy by just trying to get, from point A to point B, which is still a challenge. You're still going to die a bunch. But you can also, play through it and then go back from the beginning and try and get all the strawberries you missed, I'm sure. There's also, you can collect B-side tapes, which is like, because you're into like records, right?
Yes, I own a record shop, so... Yeah,
that's what I thought. So you can, they have like B-side tapes that you can collect, which are, I think, the hardest ones to find. I'm not entirely sure on that, but I've only found 2 or 3 of them. I think 2 throughout the game, and there's one per level, and it like switches up the level completely.
Right.
So it's essentially like you can play through the game again in a different way.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, it's nice when sort of things do crop up in collectibles, as you say, and whatnot, which physically alter the game that you're playing. That makes it more than just stuff that you can get.
Yeah, exactly. But the game, like I said, the sound design is great. Like, it has a great story for what a simple game it is, which I think is what really is driving people to love this game so much, is the story. Like, yeah, the gameplay's fun, it's addicting. But like right from the beginning, the very first title screen, as soon as you hit A to play the game, it says no matter what happens, you can do this, because the story is about a chick named Madeline who is like struggling with depression and like has like alternate personality in terms of like she's got her normal self, her happy self, and then her depressed self. So the whole game is like a battle, through those emotions, and you're trying to climb Mount Celeste. But yeah, it's a great game. Definitely give it a go if you have the chance. And your last game, I see here, Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yes, definitely.
Hold on. How many hours have you played of it?
Well, coming back to the an awful lot of time, not as much as I'd like, but I think I've probably played maybe 8 to 10 hours of it up to now, and I've gotten nowhere. The game is absolutely huge. The first island took me about... because I'm a completist, so I won't move on until I've done what I at least feel is all I can do. And that's like the tutorial island effectively took me about 5 hours.
Yeah, so I'm like 4 hours in to the game. I bought the game on Black Friday, didn't get around to playing it until like a few weeks or a month ago. And I played like 4 hours within 2 days, and I realized like, man, I have not gotten anywhere, because I'm the same way. I want to do everything and collect everything and see everything. I want to get every piece of dialogue from like people that matter. And yeah, I played through like 4 hours, and I was like, man, I don't have time for this right now. Between all the games I have in my backlog that I want to play and games coming out, I need to like put this on the back burner until like the middle of summer.
Yeah, but don't you find that, it's another one of those games that when you start playing, it just eats your time, and you don't realise that so much time has passed. It is another one of those games that, it's pointless trying to give yourself 5 minutes on it, because it is never going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of why I put it down, because I was like, I'm not going to have time. Like, I know this is just going to burn like weeks of my gaming time. And like the same thing happened with Origins, the previous Assassin's Creed game. That was the first Assassin's Creed game I played where I was like, I want to do everything.
Yeah.
I want to see everything. I want to beat this game. Granted, I never ended up doing that, but I had that feeling the whole time. Like if I saw somebody, I'd run up to him like, hey, let's do this. Whereas the only other Assassin's Creed game I played before that was Assassin's Creed 2. And when I played that, I just ran through the story. I didn't do any really side stuff, but yeah, I mean, Assassin's Creed I think is great now. I loved Origins. I know people didn't like it that much, but people said that Odyssey is a lot better than Origins was. So
it is, and I think the reason why people didn't like Origins as much is it's got more, and just as this current one, it's got more of a sort of RPG feel to it, whereas the early games didn't necessarily have that.
Yeah.
And with the early games, all of the subquests and the other stuff that was in there felt like padding. It didn't necessarily feel like you particularly... I mean, who wants to spend 7 hours collecting feathers?
Yeah, true. Nobody.
Whereas with this current game, you fall in love with the characters and the sub-characters and the NPCs, and you want to do the stuff they're asking you to do, which is not endless fetch quests.
Yeah. Yeah, they actually have personalities and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get back to that game eventually. But we got a lot of games coming out. Let's try and speed this up a little bit so we can get through these articles and talk about your gaming history, so we can try and keep it within an hour.
Yeah.
The last game I'm going to talk about very briefly is Halo 5. I love the Halo franchise as a whole. It's kind of what made me such a big gamer, is Halo 2 back in the day. It's why I love multiplayer games now. I recently booted up for the first time in probably over a year, and I was playing some custom games, because now you can search for custom games as opposed to just having to know everybody that you want to play a custom game with, which is nice. Yeah, I've been enjoying it. I've been playing SWAT, that's my main game type. Yeah, more Halo is great. I can't wait for whatever Halo Infinite ends up being. I'm sure they will not disappoint, but who knows? Microsoft's been on a slippery slope lately, it seems.
Yeah, there's quite a few companies that are on slippery slopes lately. I think that's just another one of them, to be honest.
Yeah, makes sense. But let's go on to some of the news. We only have a few articles here. Do you want to take this first one since you added it?
Yeah, I can do. This is just Bethesda currently need to just stop being Bethesda. Because they don't seem capable of actually doing anything right at all at the moment. And
yeah, let's just go through a few paragraphs of this article.
So yeah, Fallout 76 players, this is from Eurogamer. Fallout 76 players are nabbing unreleased items from a secret developer room. So in short, Bethesda in several different other games have a secret room which their devs can go into, check new items, make sure weapons are working properly, etc, etc. Fine. But in this, which is a multiplayer game, you don't want people getting in. So just to sort of read out a little bit from this article, Bethesda seems to have something of a war on its hands over Fallout 76's most powerful items. After several weeks of problems with players creating copies of items through duplication glitches, some have now figured out how to access a secret developer room in Fallout 76. The developer room contains plans for every item in the game, including top-tier weapons and unreleased goodies, which are supposed to arrive in upcoming updates. Oh, and there's an NPC in there, sat all by itself. That's got to be the holy grail for some game glitches. So, yeah, this is pretty heavy stuff for an online game, you know?
Yeah, it's so bizarre. Like, granted, like, people have found these dev rooms in previous Fallout games, but like the fact that it has the only game's NPC,
yeah,
like the game's only NPC is really weird. Like, are they planning on adding that dude somewhere in the world? I'm assuming they must be if it's there.
To be honest, I don't necessarily think they will be. I mean, I know people have been calling for NPCs for ages, bring NPCs back into the game, but from what I saw last night, because I saw quite a lot of this on YouTube as well, it would appear that the NPC is more there as a punching bag. It's there to be shot at, as opposed to...
Yeah, that makes sense. But why would they make it so detailed also? Like, it could easily just be like a grey figure.
True. So it is in itself a little bit of an unknown, and to be perfectly honest, I don't think we're going to get an absolute this is what this guy is, because Bethesda aren't going to tell us, because that would be giving away the fact that they are or aren't going to bring NPCs in. And it's just kind of weird that this guy is just standing there in the middle of the room.
Do you see this this letter they sent to somebody who...
Yes.
Who went in that room?
Yes.
It says, "Greetings. We would like to reach out to you concerning this Fallout 76 account. Our records indicate that a character or characters on this account appear to be in a corrupted and or unusual state at this time. This form of character corruption is typically seen after a character has visited an area within the game which isn't typically accessible via normal gameplay. In an effort to ensure the integrity of these characters and this account as a whole, we have temporarily suspended this Fallout 76 account." That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you sort of look on with this, if any of the characters on this account have possibly visited one of these locations, please describe the way it was accessed in a reply to this email. That detail should provide the information necessary for us to correct any corruption issues on this side and safely release the account and return these characters back to the world. So what they're effectively saying there is, please tell us how you got in so we can figure out how you did it so we can fix it.
So we can fix it so nobody else can do it.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. Do you think this is like a PC-only glitch? Or do you think people are able to do it on Xbox and stuff as well?
I think it'd be an awful lot easier to do with PC, because there's so many bits and bats of modern software that you're not going to get on things like the Xbox. But who knows? There might be ways around it.
Yeah, makes sense.
But the worst thing about this is there's unreleased items in there that are for future patches, and they're not in there anymore because people have got their hands on them.
Yeah, it could break the game for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very, very interesting stuff. Moving on, I have a pretty funny article about Ace Combat 7. This one comes from Mike Fahey of Kotaku. The title reads, "Ace Combat 7's most lovable character is a picture of a dog." Oh man. The cutscenes of Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown take place in gorgeously rendered environments populated by excellent 3D character models. Also, this static picture of a very good dog. Introduced in a lengthy cutscene leading into the game's 6th mission, Ace Combat Dog sits... I like how they gave it a name. It's just Ace Combat Dog. He sits... I don't even know how to say that word. Stoically by its master's side. Its tail never wags in excitement. Its chest never heaves with breath. Its body wavers slightly in what seems to be a heat haze, but otherwise the dog is as still as the photo it obviously is. Why a two-dimensional dog? I do not know, but I feel like Twitter's at WatchSymphogears explanation is the best. It's just hilarious. Like, there's a GIF in this article that shows like how perfectly rendered everybody is in 3D. There's three girls here. The background is kind of blah, but you can see the jet engine next to them. And then this dog, man, it's literally just a picture. And then if you scroll down, there's just more pictures of this dog within a cutscene. Like,
just randomly pasted in.
Yeah, and now people are just people crop the dog out of that, and now they're putting it in other game screenshots like Mirror's Edge and stuff. But yeah, like how did they let that fly? Like, did they not just have the time to render a dog? I'm assuming
that had to be somebody taking the mick. That has got to be an in joke somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
That has to be deliberate.
Yep. So moving on, we have some EA open world news. I will. Do you want to go through this, or do you want to go through the Atlas one? Which one would you prefer?
We'll take a little look at this one. So, EA's open world Star Wars game is no more. This one is coming from Engadget.com. And then just to give you a little bit of a readout, remember EA's open world Star Wars game that promised bounty hunting across the series universe? Anyone? No. Doesn't matter, it's been scrapped. EA Vancouver's cancelled the project, reports Kotaku, which it inherited in 2017 after shutting down its subsidiary, and the title's original developer, Visceral Games, of Dead Space fame. Back then, in an entirely different beast, originally codenamed Ragtag, the game boasted a linear action adventure setup with Uncharted director Amy Hennig at the helm. EA Vancouver rebooted it, keeping some of the art assets and adding in the open world element. It has become clear that to deliver an experience that players will want to come back to and enjoy for a long time to come, we need to pivot design, the company declared at the time. So, this is basically the forerunner to Battlefront, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It just... I don't know. This is so weird to me. EA got the licensing to Star Wars, and they have barely done anything. They put out 2 Battlefront games. The first one, which had 0 story at all, and then the second one had a very small story, and it had, just super bad publicity with everybody, just because of all the microtransaction fiascos they had.
Yeah.
So really, if I'm Disney with Star Wars, I'm trying to get out of that deal by any means necessary. Because because if you think about it, they could pump out games. Like, how have they not released more than just 2 games? It's EA, they're huge.
It is, but I mean, I can't remember where I read it, and I can't remember who said it, but somebody said something on the lines of, people don't want story in games anymore, which is absolutely ridiculous. If they came up...
That got proven wrong by, God of War.
Yeah.
How well that sold. Horizon. Uncharted 4. Spider-Man.
Yeah. It's not all about running around shooting people, because the point that they were making was, if all you're doing is match-based combat, then you don't want a story. It doesn't matter. But
yeah,
nobody wanted the game to be match-based combat in the first place. So, I don't know. I think EA really screwed up this time, to be perfectly honest. But
yeah,
they could have done so much.
Agree. We could talk about this for days.
Yeah,
but moving on, we have another article from Kotaku. Heather Alexandra writes, Atlas player gets into admin's account, summons swarm of whales and other mayhem. A Steam account belonging to an admin of the controversially received survival game Atlas was compromised yesterday, after which point the account thief went on a server-wide rampage that involved spawning countless whales and even tanks. Eventually, the Atlas team stepped in to stop the chaos, and perform a rollback on the server. I just thought this was pretty funny. Somebody spawned into an MMO server, which who knows? I heard that the servers hold up to 70,000 people, which is insane. And they just started spawning a bunch of stuff and killing people with it, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether I'd want to be killed off by whales or tanks. You know?
Yeah. Like right now, if you look, there's a Twitch clip of a guy. He's just like on his boat in the game, because I think that your civilization advances,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the type of stuff you get. And I don't know how far advanced people are in that game yet, but this guy's just in like a pirate boat sailing, and then like a plane just crashes next to him, and he looks very confused. Yeah, and then there's a video of somebody riding in a tank. Like, it just looks ridiculous, but yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. This is 2 examples this week that we have of very, very bad, development fiascos.
Yes. And
this one a little more understandable than the Fallout 76 one.
yeah, but still sort of boils back down to don't upset your player base, and they won't do horrible things to your game.
Yeah, true. All right, let's move on to the topic of the show. Let's kind of split this up, because I have a feeling you'll probably be back on the podcast. Maybe we can schedule you to be on next week or 2 weeks from now.
Well, I would love to come back. Absolutely.
Cool. So let's do kind of like a first half of Alex's gaming history. Let's go up to like middle school.
Right. Okay. So I probably started playing video games when I was about 5 on the PC, as it was at the time. So around about 1986, I think. And then after that, didn't really have a great deal. But I played a lot as a kid in amusement arcades, so there was whatever was out at the time.
Yeah.
And then after that, mostly sort of console play, but starting with the likes of the Nintendo Master System, and I got a Game Boy when it very first came out, so all the handheld consoles, the Game Boy, the Game Gear, and the Lynx as well, the Atari one.
So are you a big Tetris guy?
Well, when I first got that console, you basically had to be a Tetris guy because there wasn't a massive amount more on it.
Yeah, and I think Tetris was the big game for the Game Boy, right?
It was certainly one of the biggest ones that sort of floated that console, yeah.
Yeah, so going on after you got your Game Boy, what then?
Well, we were moving more into sort of what we'd probably class as the more recent consoles. So when I was about, 12 or 13, I got a Sega Mega Drive, which I think is your Genesis.
Okay, yeah, I was like, what is he? So wait, what is the Master System?
The Master System was the 8-bit sort of little brother or big brother of the Mega Drive. So where you had the Super Nintendo, you had the NES before it. Where you had the Genesis, you had the Master System before it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's before my time. I started on Genesis. I think it's the first system I ever played.
Right.
With NBA Jam and like Sonic and all that jazz.
Yeah.
So you went on to Dreamcast, essentially?
I
played Dreamcast.
Well, then you were moving into the console wars era, weren't you? Where you had to be Sega or Nintendo, but you could never be both. So
you see, here's where it gets interesting. Is I think we had an N64 first,
right?
And we played the hell out of that as kids. Me and my older brothers. Then my oldest brother, or second oldest brother, he ended up getting a Sega Dreamcast.
Yeah.
So we also had that, but since he was like, like me and my second oldest brother and my oldest brother, they were like, there was like a 5-year gap there between me and my other brother and them. So that Dreamcast basically became like a JRPG machine in like race simulators. And like me and my other brother weren't into that. So we mainly stuck to the N64 stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what name some of your favorite games from those systems as we go through as well.
Right. Well, okay. The Master System phase, the 8-bit phase, was games like Alex Kidd. That actually came preloaded onto the console, which was really cool, because whether you had any of the games with it or not, you had a game. What else? There was one that was re-released on the Genesis, actually. Do you remember a game called Bonanza Brothers?
I do not.
That was good fun.
The Dreamcast, as I recall, it was really easy to like print ROMs for it, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. The Dreamcast was later, yeah.
Yeah, if you had a DVD drive, you could just do it, right?
Yeah, you could. And the thing about the Dreamcast, that was the first console, I think, that Sega brought out that had proper internet capability.
Yeah.
Which was really good for the time, you know. But you got to remember, in between those consoles, you had the Sega Saturn as well. Did you get a chance to play with one of them?
Never played a Sega Saturn.
And that was like your original Virtual Fighters came out on that one, and I think some of the early Tekkens as well.
So at this time, like, how old are you?
So around
where are we at? Are we in elementary school?
Yeah, I would have been. Let's see, when the Dreamcast came out, I was probably about 15, maybe 16 years old. So that would have been a bit later. I actually think I might have had the original PlayStation before that. When the Genesis came out, I was about 12.
Ah, you see, you're like closer to like my older brother's age.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like he was probably around 15 when the Dreamcast came out as well. I just looked it up. November 27th of 1998.
98. I was actually a little bit older than that. I was 17.
Okay, got you. But yeah, like for me, I was born in 92, so I didn't really start gaming until I want to say like 95, really.
Yeah.
That's when I could really kind of understand stuff, and then like 98 was prime time when I would be playing N64 a bunch.
Right.
And obviously that Dreamcast, and then on to PlayStation. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on the way gaming has changed since back then?
I think that you've got two definite sort of distinctive camps now that you didn't have back then, because back then you didn't so much have your big IPs, your big AAA games, and then the indies like we've got now. You just had games. So the sort of the companies that were doing well carried on doing well, and then the smaller companies tended to get eaten or swallowed up by the bigger ones. Whereas now, it seems to be more, you've got these indie developers doing some really wonderful, marvellous things and being taken notice of, which is excellent.
Yeah, and in some cases you have the bigger companies buying these independent studios just to make, these indie type games specifically for them, like with Cuphead.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not always a good thing, because what seems to have happened a lot with some of the bigger companies is they'll buy out a smaller development team and then just basically tell them what they want from their game. And, that was sort of that. So then what happens is they're not happy with what comes out, but it's because the publisher has changed that initial vision so much that, that development team is never going to be as good as when they were just working on their own.
Yeah. So to kind of round out the podcast, let's just talk about... Let's end it at Dreamcast.
Mm-hmm.
So when you got Dreamcast, did you get it like right when it came out? Or is that something you had to
Pretty
wait
much. No, I think I got it pretty early on. And I'm trying to just remember what game I got with it. I remember Phantasy Star Online. That was very good. That's going back to your JRPGs. And now, was it Sonic Heroes at the time, or Sonic Adventure? Sonic Adventure, the first one.
Sonic Adventure, yeah. I'm looking at a list here. I'm trying to remember which games I played on the Dreamcast. I played Crazy Taxi.
Yeah.
Loved that. Here, I'm gonna go through this list and see if you played any of them.
Okay.
All right. I just googled popular Dreamcast games. Shenmue.
Yes, play that.
Sonic Adventure. You already said.
Yep.
Skies of Arcadia.
I think that was a shooter. I do think I played that. I think.
Jet Set Radio.
Yes, definitely played that.
Precursor to Jet Set Radio Future. One of the best games ever.
Mm-hmm.
Power Stone.
Yes, that was a beat 'em up, like a brawler, if I remember rightly.
Resident Evil Code Veronica.
Yes, played that one to death.
Oh man, you got a perfect score right now. Phantasy Star Online, yes.
Yep.
Crazy Taxi.
Yep, played
yes.
that.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Yes, I did.
Ikaruga.
That name does ring a bell, so probably.
Choo Choo Rocket.
No.
Okay.
So that's one down.
Power Stone 2. Okay, this is interesting. Power Stone came out in 99. Power Stone 2 came out in 2000.
Yes,
They're
was
just pumping out those
really
games.
popular.
Oh, that's interesting, man. That's kind of like a timepiece then, because I've never even heard of that.
I'm a timepiece.
We got Soul Calibur. Everybody's played that. Sonic Adventure 2.
Yep.
I definitely played this one. I didn't play 1, but I remember playing 2 because of Shadow. That's his name, right? Shadow?
Yeah, Shadow. Shadow the Hedgehog.
Okay. Space Channel 5?
Yes, I remember that one quite well.
What is that? What is it? Looks like a dancing game.
It's sort of is. It was a very sort of cartoony, sort of anime style. I don't remember the game too well, but I have played it.
Okay, Rez. Did you play the original?
Yes.
Rez game. The House of the Dead 2.
Wasn't that a Light Gun-esque
Arcade
one?
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was mainly an arcade game.
Mm-hmm.
But it came out on Dreamcast in '98. Grandia 2?
That was a shooter. That was another space shooter, I think. If I remember right.
Street Fighter 3?
Yes.
So now we're into like games that are on multiple consoles, like the original Xbox, PS2, PS1, GameCube type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Shenmue 2?
Yeah, played it.
Samba de Amigo?
I've heard of it, but no, I never played it.
The Typing of the Dead?
Yes, I think I did, but I don't think I played it on that.
Oh man, that's weird. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Dead or Alive 2?
Yep.
Seaman?
No.
It's literally just called Seaman. Seaman? Seaman.
Just check the spelling on that.
And Seaman.
Right, okay.
Oh my god, this is not a real game. What is this? Seaman. Please Google this if you have a chance. The cover art just says caution, seaman, and it looks like a frog, but the screenshots of the game look like a fish with like a dude's face at the end of it.
Right.
Seaman is a virtual pet video game for the Sega Dreamcast. It is one of the few Dreamcast games to take advantage of the microphone attachment. The narration is voiced by Toshiyuki Hosokawa in the original Japanese language version and by Leonard Nimoy in the English language version. What the fuck?
This looks really trippy.
Imagine just having that on your TV in the background while like you're not home.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of thing, when your mum walks in, she just, wants you to stop playing video games.
Yeah, I did not pay for this shit, right?
Yeah.
Moving on, Toy Commander, which I think I played.
Yeah.
I remember playing that.
This might be coming later than me now.
NFL 2K?
Don't like sports games, so no.
Not into sports? Okay, so I'll skip the sports games that are here. Let's see. Project Justice. We just have a few more here.
Nope.
I'm just skipping through to some of the interesting ones. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Yes, I did. Played a few of the Tony Hawk's games.
Ready to Rumble Boxing. I remember playing that on Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Let's go to the end here. Rush 2049.
I've heard of it, but I've only ever played it.
I remember I played countless hours of Rush 2 on N64. So yeah, is there anything else you want to bring up about the Dreamcast?
Not really. I mean, it was one of those.
Memory cards for it.
It was just a really, really good console, and the reason why it failed was it was at a time where Sega didn't quite know what to do with itself. So by that point, you still had literally one similar period of time. You had the Genesis was still going with the Mega CD and the 32X add-ons. You had the Sega Saturn, and you had the Dreamcast, and nobody sort of at the time seemed to quite know which direction Sega were going in. So you had these three big consoles all fighting with each other, and kind of in the end, none of them really won.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird, but I don't know why. That's something I would want to read into more, because I never really looked into it. Like, why did Sega crash so hard? Like, why did they never make another console?
I think it was down to that, to be honest.
Is it just because it did so poor?
Yeah.
Sales-wise?
I don't think they ever quite recovered from that sort of period of time. And it was a case of a worldwide company with different sort of very high up groups doing different things in different parts of the world. So you had Sega Japan doing one thing, Sega America doing something else, and nobody quite seeming to understand what each other were doing, so there was no common drive, and I just think it knackered them, to be honest.
But yeah, I guess that concludes episode 49 of the Pixel Street Podcast. If you have a topic of the show recommendation, email us at pixelstreetpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our Facebook just by searching Pixel Street Podcast. You'll find our page. Give us a like there. As always, I'm Joel Campos. Find me on Twitter at Campos63. You can find my writing on thatvideogameblog.com. Alex, thanks for joining me. It's been great. You should definitely come back on. Well, obviously, we got to finish up your gaming history.
Well, yeah, I'll definitely be back. You will
picking
not
up
get rid
from
of
the
me.
Dreamcast. So where can we find you?
Well, you can find me on TVGB as well, when I'm about. And that's pretty much it. That's kind of my home. So, yeah, come and check me out there.
Got you. All right. Thanks for joining me, Alex. Stay tuned for next week for Pixel Street Podcast episode 50. We're at 50.
I may be back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Later.
Bye.